Hey everybody, this is Bobby Nahum with AMAC Real Estate Company. Hope everybody is doing great. Hope you're enjoying your quarantine or your social distancing if that's what you're doing. But if you're going on as life is normal as usual, that's great too if you're that lucky. Hey, just wanted to give everybody kind of a update on what's going on with the market here, and not doing my normal quarterly market report today, but I am going to give you guys the statistics for the year-over-year market statistics for January and February of this year, so we can kind of see what was going on with the market before the coronavirus hit, and talk to you guys a little bit about what we've been seeing in the last couple weeks as well on the ground in terms of activity, so that you guys can kind of know how the real estate market here is being affected by what's going on, and getting a little bit about my thoughts on where things are going to go over the next couple months, and what what we can expect going forward in light of all the events that we've seen unfold over the last couple weeks. So anyway, basically the first 2 months of this year, we were on track to have definitely a record year. I mean, prices were way up. Sales were up, listings were up, which is good. We've had a problem with listing inventory over the last few years now, and especially over the last couple of years. And it seems like the first couple months of the year, we were getting more new construction on the market, and sellers were obviously being enticed by the high prices, and we were seeing more people put their houses on the market. So everything was looking great. Houses were selling a lot quicker in the first couple months of this year compared to first couple months of 2019, and we also saw an increase in the sale price to list price ratio, which is the measure of what a home sells for compared to its asking price. So, but anyway, everything was looking good, and then last couple weeks it's kind of come to a slowdown, but I want to get into the numbers really quick of what we were seeing the first couple months of this year. Year over year, it just means first 2 months of this year compared to the first 2 months of last year. We saw a year over year 9.95, basically 10% increase in home prices. The average home price in Leon County went up to $245,000, which is the highest it's ever been since I've been in the real estate market, since late 2006. So, and then and that's, like I said, we went up from 220 basically in the first 2 months of last year to 245 this year. So a big jump in prices. Saw a pretty big increase in sales to 5.7%, which is pretty healthy. Went up from 520 sales, 512 sales last year to this year. We had 543 properties sell, so 5.7% jump in the sales. Listings went up by 3.6%. We went up from last year 1,003 properties listed to 1,041 properties listed this year. So again, that's probably one of the most important elements of all these statistics is the increase in the listings, because that was prices have been going up, listings or sales have been going up. Listings has been the main thing we've had problems with. So even though it wasn't a huge increase, 3.6% increase is a healthy increase, but we'll take any increase. But that's what we were seeing. That's what we saw with sales prices and listings in the first 2 months of this year. And then another big one is the sale price to list price ratio. We were at 98.27% this year. So on average, in the first 2 months of this year, homes were selling for 98.27% of the asking price, which is very strong. That's compared to last year when it was at 97.41%. So a jump of 0.86%. In the first 2 months of this year compared to the same time in 2019. We also saw a big decrease in the average days on the market. Average days on the market went down from 78 days in the first 2 months of 2019 19 to only 61 days. So that's almost a 23% decrease in the number of days on the market. So homes flew off the market a lot quicker in the first 2 months of this year than they did last year. And distress sales, foreclosures and short sales, they're still hovering around that 2 to 3% range that they've been at for the past couple of years. So exactly, we were at distress sales in the first 2 months of this year only made up 2.6% of total sales, which is very low. And I think we'll probably stay steady at that level for the foreseeable future if this coronavirus thing doesn't hit us too hard, which hopefully it doesn't. But so let's talk about March. Obviously, March is going to be a big, different story from what we saw in the first two months of the year, and we'll probably see much worse numbers in April and probably in May as well as a result. Real estate, what happens in March, what happens in 1 month, it's going to affect us, the numbers for the next couple months, most likely. So, even if we recover from this thing within the next few weeks, it's still going to have an impact on our real estate market here for the next couple months. So, but basically what we're seeing, on the ground here, I don't have, because we haven't gotten through the month yet, so I haven't been able to figure out all the numbers yet for March. But I can tell you what we're seeing on the ground in person. The most noticeable difference that we've noticed is the slowdown in showings. Buyers are obviously reluctant to go out into people's homes, and sellers are reluctant to have buyers in their homes right now. Everybody's kind of a little bit standoffish right now, and on investment properties, rental properties, where there's tenants in place, the tenants are very nervous about having people come in and out of the house for showing. So all that is all that nervousness and anxiety about contracting the virus is causing a slowdown in showing activity. Also, another thing that I've been noticing, I monitor the inventory pretty much every day, and we're seeing a fair number of, more than what we are used to seeing, a fair number of properties coming back on the market. And a lot of the agents, what they're doing is in the confidential remarks on the MLS, they're putting the reason that it came back on the market. And we're seeing a lot of properties come back on the market right now because of financing fell through due to a job loss that happened mid-transaction. So this thing is definitely having an effect on not only showings but also closings. It's halting closings, which is not good. And then I would say the last thing that we're noticing is probably a slowdown in the number of properties that are coming onto the market for sale, slowdown in the number of listings. So this is pretty much expected. People don't want to put their properties on the market when there's no buyers out there, so I think people are postponing putting their properties on the market. March is one of the busiest months of the year for new listings, March, April, May, and it's so far it's definitely slower than what we would expect in terms of new listings. So where things are going to go from here, it's kind of hard to tell. We don't have control over a lot of things that are going to happen, so it's hard to say exactly how it's going to play out. But I think a lot of it's going to depend on how quickly we get through this and how quickly the virus gets contained. If it gets contained and things start to get better and not worse, we start to get fewer cases of new cases of people getting the virus and more cases of people recovering, and the numbers start to go down. If that happens in the next 3-4 weeks, I think that if that happens and they open the businesses up again and get rid of all of the executive orders that were put into place to close businesses down, bars, restaurants, etc. If those get lifted and everybody gets back to work within the next 3-4 weeks, I think that pretty much things will recover quickly. I think that things will kind of go back to business as usual. and we won't see that much of an impact. But I think if it goes any longer than 3 or 4 weeks, if we start getting into months, 2 months, 3 months of being in this kind of like quarantine mode, even though it's not official quarantine, and social distancing and all that stuff, if that continues, then I think that it could be more of a long-term issue that we're going to be facing, because at that point you're going to have irreparable damage to the economy that's not going to just happen overnight. It's going to take a longer time, maybe a year to recover from. Hopefully that doesn't happen, and hopefully we get back to business as usual. I would encourage everybody to pay attention to the numbers with what's going on with the virus. Just like in real estate, I think with this thing, the story can be told in the numbers, and looking at what's going on with that. So hopefully they continue to make efforts to get this thing contained, so we can all get back to our life as usual. But I just want to emphasize: don't panic at this point, and try to look at the bright side of things. If you're in the market to buy something right now, I guess the bright spot you could look at this, you could find in this whole thing is that you might be able to use this slowdown to your advantage to get a better deal. If you're in the market to buy something, you're going to have less competition right now, so that's going to help you maybe negotiate a better price. And if you're looking to sell right now, if you can't delay selling, if you have to put the property on the market, if you have to put your property on the market now and get it sold, then the bright spot there is you're going to have less houses to compete against for buyers. So you can always try to find positive in a bad situation, and I think that's pretty much the two positive things we can get out of this. So, if you do have to put your property on the market, this time I would say just be very aggressive with the marketing and understand that you've got to price your property competitively right now if you want to get it sold in this market, especially with the slowdown in the number of buyers. But nevertheless, even during this time, people still have to buy and sell homes. So the real estate market's not going to come to a crashing halt. And as we could see the numbers in the first 2 months of the year, the fundamentals of the economy before this thing came were very, very, very strong. Demand was very strong, and we were on pace to hit a record year. And and the only thing that's causing the slowdown is this virus. So that's the good news. But anyway, that's it, and I just want to kind of give you guys an update on what's going on. I'm still working, so if you guys need me for anything real estate related, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be glad to help you in any way I can with your real estate related needs. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Bobby Nahum Real Estate on YouTube, and look forward to talking to you guys again, and good luck to everybody, and hope you guys can get through this. And next time I talk with you, hopefully things will be back to normal. Thanks, and have a great week.